ruining the surprise, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the question that was asked. Okay, so if I select a number, this says that my restriction is that m has to be less than 2. Well, if it's 3, what happens here? What's 2 subtract 3? Negative 1, so I can't take the square root of it. So now that I know that it has to be less than 2, are both these numbers less than 2? Yeah? But I still need to try them as well to make sure that they work. Okay, so I put minus 2 in here. Okay, so I've got minus 2 is equal to 2 subtract negative 2. Alright, minus 2, square root 4. Minus 2 equal to 2?
Plus minus?
Okay, so that's the question that you want to ask. Alright, do we take the plus minus here when we do it? Alright, is it possible for this square root of 4 to equal negative 2 here?
No.
No, but yes.
That's the problem. Okay, now when we did our quadratic function, when we solved it, we always said there was a plus minus, right? When we did that, so do we consider this as a plus minus here, or is it not possible? So let's look in our book here and let's see how this works. So you've got m equals 2 using the quadratic formula. Where do they? Okay, click over to page 214. Okay, so when they put 1 in here, 2 subtract 1 is 1, square root of 1 is 1. So 1 works. So we got that as working. They're saying that the value of m equals 2 is not a possible value in this question. So because these do not equal, I have to do this. This is new to you. So I want you to follow through with this. This right here is what happens when we have an extraneous root. What an extraneous root says is that it's not an actual value. It does not work. It does not satisfy the equation here. So the second thing that we want to do is, this is not a plus minus in this case, because it was part of the question. So it's not considered a plus minus. If you were applying square roots to something, then you consider it a plus minus. But because this question is written as is, if it was written like this, that would be a different story. Okay? But it's not written that way, so we have to consider it. The only possible solution for this is m equaling 1. So that's the only thing that makes this a little more challenging for you, is you have to actually check your solutions to make sure they work on the left side and the right side of the equation. Okay? So far we've done 2 fairly simple questions. I didn't do this, but I will. I put 37 in. 37 subtract 1 is 36. What's the square root of 36? 6. 6 add 7, give me 13? Yeah, so that works. Okay? So, let's look at the third example in the book then. Now this is where it gets to be a lot of work. These questions are not difficult, but they are a lot of work. And the first 2 weren't because I only had 1 square root, but what happens is I have a second square root now. So now we have to do a couple things in order to solve this. Alright, so let's look at the following question. I have the square root of 2x plus 5 equals 2 times 2x plus 1. Alright, so the first thing you have to do is isolate one of the 2 square roots. Have I done that already? Yes. Now I have to take the square of both sides. Now here's the catch. Most people think, well, I just square this and I square this. It doesn't work like that. What I have to do is square it like that. Okay? So I'm squaring all of both sides. So what am I left with? Over here I'm left with 2x plus 5. Over here, no, we gotta do this. Okay? That's what I'm saying. We do not square and square. We can't do that. So this is why it gets to be a lot of work. So now, I keep the 2x plus 5 here, equals. Okay, so now I'm going to FOIL this. 2 times 2 is 4. Root 2x times root 2x is? Yeah, it is, yeah. Which is actually what though? Just 2x. So I'm going to write that as 2x. Okay? 2 root 2x times 1 is just the same thing. 2 root 2x plus, do the same thing here. 2 root 2x. And then all of that is right there. Okay? Give you a second. So you see how it's a considerable amount of work, and I'm still not even close to finished. Because now I need to group everything together as best I can, and then isolate the square root again. So I have to do it twice. So I have 2x plus 5 is equal to 8x plus 4 root 2x plus 1. Okay? Hello? Hey. Yeah, she did, and I couldn't find her. Yeah, she's not here. So I should have put that on I didn't see her. I thought she was in the grade 12 one. So I didn't look. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay. All right, so now I want to isolate this 4 root 2x again. So let's isolate it. So I'm going to subtract everything over here. So I get minus 6x plus 4 equals 4 root 2x, just like that. Okay? So I've isolated, so I'm getting closer to what I need. Now what do? Get rid of the square root, square everything again. Yeah, that's what I mean. These questions are really long. They're not tough, but they're long. So now I have negative 6x plus 4 times negative 6x plus 4 equals 16 times 2x. Okay, 4 squared is 16. I often see students forgetting to square that value. Okay, you gotta make sure you square it. And root 2x squared is just 2x. So now I have 36x squared minus 48x plus 16 equals 32x. Get it equal to 0. So I'm just going to move the page up here. So now what do I get? 36x squared minus 80x plus 16 equals 0. Right? I subtract 32 from that. Okay. And now it's back to what we've always done. Greatest common factor, divide it out if we can. So what goes into all 3 of those? 4 does. So that gives me 9x squared minus 20x add 4 equals 0. So normally I would say, okay, well times your A, times your C, do all that. But I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Yeah, what do you think it is?
3x and 3x.
3x and 3x.
And then
2 and 2. And I believe it would be that. Is that going to give me 20? No, it's not.
No.
So it's not going to work out.
I didn't know what you were doing there.
So I got to do it my long way. So I'm just going to go over a screen here and take this again. So I've got 9x squared, 9x squared minus 20x, add 4 4 equals 0. Okay, so the product is 36, sum, negative 20, factors, negative 18 and 2. Right, gotta give me 20. So 9x squared minus 18x minus 2x add 4 equals 0. What do I take out of here? Nope, larger. 9x. Leaves me with x, subtract 2. What do I take out of there? What is it? Negative 2. Leaves me with x subtract 2 equals 0. 9x minus 2, x subtract 2 equals 0. X is equal to plus 2 and 2 over 9. Okay? So have a look and see, look at the amount of work. One question, piles of work. Okay? And the reason that it's this much work is because of the 2 square roots that we started with. You can't get rid of them both at the same time. You can only get rid of one at a time.
What if the square roots were like the same? There's a square root of 2 things, couldn't you add them?
Yeah, that's right.
Do both of those square roots work? Don't you have to check them?
Yeah, you should. Okay, so then I would put 2 in.
I don't think 2 works.
Okay, well, let's see. So if I put 2 in here, 2 times 2 is?
4.
4 plus 5 is?
20.
4 plus 5.
9.
9. Square root of 9 is?
3.
3. So the left side's 3. Put 2 in there, so that's the square root of 4, which is 2. 2 times 2 is? 4 plus 1 is?
5.
5. So 2 does not work for this question.
I think 2 needs to.
We're going to go with 2 over 9 works. Okay?
And what, sorry, why didn't 2?
Because it didn't equal on both sides. And you put 2 in there. If I put 2 in here, this side equals 3. If I put 2 in here, it equals 5. Okay? All right. That's it. That is it.
Can you go back to the second one you did? And I just didn't know how you got the restraint. Yeah, like the 2 minus m is less than or greater than.
Right here. Whatever's underneath the square root is your restriction. This value in here, whatever I put in here for m, has to make sure that when I subtract it from 2, that I don't get a negative number.
Okay.
Because you can't take the square root of a negative number.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Okay. Should we try one more, just because? So let's try 2 more. You guys can do this in your book. We'll do 3C. Okay, so the very first thing I want you to do is find out what the restriction is on this, and then I want you to solve it. So find your restriction first. Find your restriction first and then solve it.